A leader, as my mother used to say, a leader is a good listener. And over the last 7 weeks, I've been doing some listening. And I've traveled across the state and I've asked a very simple question. I've asked our small businesses and employers across our state and large businesses and medium and dairy farmers, I've asked them a simple question. What can we do in our state to grow jobs and grow opportunities for our young people? And everywhere I go, I hear the same thing. I hear that Vermont's crushing tax burden is costing us jobs. And I also hear that Vermont's burdensome regulatory environment discourages job creation and discourages new employers from locating in our great state. In Rutland, a small business owner, when I first went to Rutland, has the highest unemployment in our state. I sat down at a forum and I asked the question, and the business owner said, Brian, I'm hanging on by my fingernails. And you all in the legislature must realize that what you do has an impact on my business. And Brian, taxes are too high in Vermont. Another business owner by the name of Scott said, when the legislature chose to override the governor's veto, raise taxes, it sent the wrong message. Another theme that I hear is that these actions in the legislature have real-world consequences. Forbes magazine rates all the states from the best to the worst, and as a result of the actions of last legislative session, we moved from 36th to 47th in the country in terms of business friendliness. That's unacceptable. And we have the opportunity to do better. And that's what this campaign is about. This campaign is about taking advantage of the opportunity to do better. In Bennington, I met a cheesemaker. Her name was Joanne. And she said, Brian, if my taxes were lower, I could hire more Vermont workers. I could buy more Vermont milk from Vermont dairy farmers. I could make more cheese, and I could sell more cheese to people who want to buy my cheese. Just as families here tonight are tightening their belts, we in state government must restrain our spending, right-size government, and work to cut taxes. I met a restaurant owner in Burlington by the name of Al who told me, in this economy, my revenues have shrunk, but my property taxes have surged. And with my property taxes, I can't think about expansion. I can only think about surviving. I'm running for governor because I want all our small businesses to think about expanding. The other theme... Thank you. The other theme I hear loud and clear is that our permit and regulatory system is costing us jobs. A builder in Morrisville said it pretty well when he said, the state seems to be telling me it doesn't want me to succeed. It doesn't want me to create jobs. Another small business owner by the name of Trey said, I want governor to be a partner and not an adversary. I'm running for governor because I want to send a message that I will be a partner as your next governor and work to grow opportunities and create jobs in our state. It's a privilege as a lieutenant governor to stick your nose into a small business or a medium-sized business across the state. And the other theme that I hear loud and clear is praise for the Vermont worker. The general manager of GE in Rutland said it pretty well when he said to me, you know, Brian, I just came from another state, and we've had a difficult last year. But my observation of the workers in Rutland, Vermont, is that they're highly educated, highly motivated, and very flexible. I strongly believe in the Vermont worker. It has been my privilege to be their champion across the world. As a lieutenant governor, I promoted their products, the Vermont worker, and their products in Alaska and Canada and China and Cuba. But we simply must give the Vermont worker the tools they need to succeed by cutting taxes and cutting red tape. As Vermont's next governor, I'll fight for the Vermont worker. As Vermont's next governor, I understand that many of our dairy farmers and small business are hanging on by their fingernails. Only with a strong economy and good paying jobs can we pay for the services we value as a state. The education of the next generation, a clean environment, support for our seniors, help for those in need, and protection for the most vulnerable. Let me repeat that. Only with a strong economy and jobs can we pay for the services that we value as a state. An education for the next generation, a clean environment, support for our seniors, help for those in need, and protection for the most vulnerable. As I've said, it's been my privilege to be a champion for the Vermont worker and their products all over the world, and I'll go to the edge of the earth to sell Vermont products. And it was my privilege to go to Cuba twice, selling Vermont ag products. And we did what no other state has ever done. We advocated for human rights, and we also cut a deal and sold $6 million worth of milk powder and 100 heifers to the Cuban government. And you can be proud, the Vermont farmers that are here can be proud of the principle of which we did advocate for human rights in Cuba. It's important for you to know that, and I know there's many farmers here with us tonight. But at the third night on the first trip I was in Cuba, I was at a big formal banquet. And I was at the head table with the Vice President. And at the head table, the Vice President turned to me and said, "Lieutenant Governor Dubie, why are you in my country?" I said, "I'll tell you why. And there's a bunch of fighter pilots out here from the Vermont National Guard. And they know this story." I said, "I'll tell you why. In 1996, your country shot down 2 civilian aircraft in the Brothers of the Rescue incident. Well," I said, "I was sitting in an F-16 in the Vermont Air National Guard in Langley Air Force, Virginia, with 2 live missiles and a live gun with orders to come shoot those MiGs down. I said, I sat in my jet for 10 hours on 1-minute scramble status, and I got right in his face and I said, I didn't get a chance to come that night." Now I'm Lieutenant Governor, I'm glad to be here. And the Vice President turned back and kind of thought for a minute. He said, "In 1962, I was an anti-aircraft gunner. I prayed to God every day someone like you would come in my gun section." And there was 15 children singing on a stage, and they sounded almost as good as Casey and Allison did. They sounded like angels. And I reached for my glass, and I raised my glass, and I said, "Francisco, I propose a toast that you and I dedicate our service for making a better future for those children and the children of my country. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm running to be your next governor to make a better future for the children of the state of Vermont."
All right.